What a lot of people imagine is that starting a poultry farm or starting any kind of farm takes a really long time. You have to plan for it, you have to acquire land, you need to save a lot of money, you really need to plan in order for you to start a farm, and that's true, you need to plan properly for you to start a farm, but you don't need to wait many years before you actually do start a farm. In today's video I'm going to be sharing with you how to actually start and run a poultry farm in just 6 months. In just 6 months you can start right from scratch and ensure that you have a poultry that's up and running and very successful, and it will get you the very best results. So if that's you and that's what you're interested in, come on, you're in the right place. So stick around with this video right through to the very end. Now, just in case you're wondering who the hell I am, I'm Dr. Danielle, a retired medical doctor. I started out as a medical doctor, but I got fed up of it because I was very passionate about farming. So I'm a very passionate farmer, and if you do notice, most of my focus is on poultry farming. So if you're very interested in learning about poultry farming, growing big in the farming industry, you're in the right place. I managed to start a poultry farm with just 800 chickens, and right now I've kept birds in the thousands. I've helped multiple people start their poultry farms and get a lot of money. So if you're interested in it, come on, just hit that subscribe button and stick around right through to the very end. So commitment, the first step in you starting a poultry farming business in a really short time, is you've got to commit to it before you get to the time where you're actually going to start and do all these things. Build the chicken houses. You're going to have to commit to the whole idea of starting and building a poultry farm. It also starts with mentor work. Without mentor work, it's going to be very difficult for you to run a POF because it involves a lot of work. There's a lot of activities. There's a lot of other things that you're going to have to do. You're going to have to deal with workers. You're going to have quite a number of workers on your farm. You're going to have to deal with the prices of feeds. You're going to have to deal with poultry diseases sometimes. You're going to have to deal with the market. You're going to have to deal with a lot of things, so it requires a lot of mental and psychological prepared. You've got to commit to it full time. Sometimes they're going to have to be there physically. If you're going to be it as a small farm, you have full time free time, then probably you're going to be running it yourself, and that requires a lot of commitment. Chickens, unlike a lot of other animals like goats and sheep, require a lot of physical presence because you need to make sure that you serve them food, and you need to make sure that you don't leave the food there. Secondly, you need to make sure that you're consistently providing them with water. You need to make sure that you're watching out in case a disease develops or anything that's out of the normal, just to make sure that you get ahead of it of time. So you don't want to make sure that you're absent. You want to be as present as possible, both emotionally and physically. So it requires a lot of commitment. So you need to prepare yourself mentally. Is this something that I really want? Am I willing to commit to it for the long term? Am I willing to do what is required for me to get the results that are required in this business? If you're not, then come on, you've got to get back to it. Probably watch a few more videos, see a bit more people doing it, and see what is required for you to do it. Otherwise, prepare yourself mentally, and then you're going to be on the way there. The learning second step is to learn as much as possible. Becoming a farmer actually requires a lot of learning. Like I've told you, there's a lot of things you're going to have to learn. You're going to have to learn how to prepare the feed. For me personally, when I was starting out, I went and read as much as possible. I downloaded a lot of PDFs, read as many books as I can. I just did so much learning, visited so many farmers to try and gather as much information from all the places that I can as possible. So it is very important that you do as much learning as possible. Yeah, you're going to have to read a lot of books. I mean, read so much, read as much as possible. At the beginning, it might seem like it's too much stress, too much information gathering, but you want to be as prepared as possible. Now, what I want to tell you in all honesty is that nothing is going to prepare you like experience. So from the beginning, what you need to know is that you're gathering knowledge right at the start, but you're also going to need experience with time. So if you get into hard times, don't forget that, well, hard times are meant to happen, and that's the advantage of experience. You get a lot of things from experience, but prepare yourself, learn as much as possible, read as many books as possible, watch as many of the farm up videos on this channel as possible, because on this channel I've shared so many videos about poultry farming, so many, I mean way more than you could ever need. So learn as much as possible. When I was personally starting out, like I've shared many times before, I would download a lot of PDF books. I downloaded a lot of PDF from the internet, and what I would do is that I would save through the book, look at one of the book and see the information that it emphasizes, go to another book's information that it emphasizes. If I find 10 books emphasizing the same exact information, most likely that information is very important. So read as much as possible, gather as much information as Possible one book is going to focus more on one thing, another book is also going to focus more on another thing. You're going to read a book that's going to focus on diseases, learn as much about the diseases as you can, then you're going to find another book that's going to focus on feeding, learn as much about the feeding as possible. You're going to find in another book that's going to focus on types of management, learn as bad as you can about management, go and visit as many farmers as you can. Some of the farmers will be really crappy, they'll be telling you things from their experience but without any form of knowledge yet. It's okay, just go and learn from as many as possible. I don't advise you to learn from one because one most likely is going to simply be a mistake. Learn from as many as possible. Go to this one, go to that one, go to the other one, and gather as much information as possible. That way you have the best bank of information that you can gather from in hard time. Now the third step will be saving money. You're going to have to save money. You're going to need to start to save money. The thing about starting a poultry farm is that it requires money. You can't start a farm without money. A lot of times people come to me and they're like, hey Daniel, I want to start a farm but I'm broke, I don't have money, what do I do? How do I manage to start a farm without money? Guys, it's not possible for you to start a farm without money. You need money because what you're going to need, land is going to require you to get money. You're going to need, the chicken houses, they're going to require you to get money. You're going to need the chickens themselves, they need money. You're going to need foods, they need money. So you need to save as much as possible. Now what you need to understand is that you don't need to have too much money to start. That's the mistake people keep thinking. They keep thinking that for you to start a farm you need to have too much money. No, you don't need to have too much money. You just need to make sure that your money is planned. You need to make sure that you buy land in the correct place. You don't need to buy a very huge chunk, but it's advisable that you buy in a place where you can expand. A lot of times people think about buying land in urban settings. Sometimes that's not what you need. Yeah, sometimes doing it in a really rural setting might work, so you just need to make sure that you plan properly in terms of your money. What I advise you to do is find some form of job and work. Don't just go around begging for money. Now there are a lot of ways that you can finance a firm. Yeah, one of them is of course through a bank loan, another could be through your own savings, another could be through asking for money from your colleagues, your family, and things like that. What I advise you to do is to save your very own money. I don't advise you to start a farm while using money from the bank. It's possible for you to actually start a farm and thrive using money from the bank, but number one, it's difficult for you to count the cost. It's easier for you to commit to the farm when you've invested your very own money. You're more likely to push through with it, ensure that it succeed when you invested your own money. If you invested other people's money, well, the commitment is not as much, but secondly, just in case it fails, because own state can fail, you don't want to have a bank loan because then you're going to be in trouble if it fails when it was your own money, usually probably because it was a mistake or something like that. It's easier for you to gather yourself and start again compared to if you have to pay back interest in a bank and then you use your stuff as security. They going to come and want to take it. So save your own money. I mean, get a job, work as much as possible. I personally, when I started out, I was working as a doctor, so I saved my own money, used my own money, saved it, and then I set in my farm, and here I am. I mean, I've got to really huge figures simply utilizing the money that I started out with. Not too much money. The fourth step is identify a location.